Hey my friends, hey, how's it going? Welcome back as I work on my 40k army, mostly built from primarily the Assault on the Black Reach orkz. Now my friends, I bought this set in 2011, friends. 2011, this bad boy was $90. That's quite a bit for back then. So I went hands on it with a buddy. I was a big time fantasy player and I really wanted to get into 40k so bad, my friends, so bad. So I got the orkz and my buddy has the Space Marines. So what we're working on today, my friends, is I didn't make it to the last two sessions of the painting sessions at the game store. I really wasn't feeling too well. I did too much yard work in the sun and I just overdid it. So and then the week before that was my mom's birthday week, so I took my mom out, you know. So my friends, what we're working on today, oh, I'm sorry, I'm so rude, my friends, I'm so sorry. Hey, thanks for liking and watching. If you can, please subscribe. That'd be totally awesome. I'm also offering memberships. The price of a cup of coffee, my friends. Cup of coffee. No pressure. Now that all the salesman stuff is done, my friends, let's get down to the fun stuff. Working on our troops. So, we're about ready to start the first round of the Escalation League. Okay, 500 points. I talked to, when I was at the game store the last time, my friends, I talked to some really nice people. I introduced the game store introduced me. I met some wonderful people. Basically, I'm like everybody's. I'm old enough to be your dad or the grandpa at the game store, my friends. It's so funny because I'm 61. Okay, so young at heart. So I was asking people, hey, what's your starting 500-point army? So one person had like 7. One person had 12. Now I'm starting off with 51. Yeah, crazy, huh? Okay, 46. A lot. I'm starting off with a lot. 51. So what we're working on today, my friends, is we're going to be, I got to rebase these guys. So I got some bases, okay? So, and then I have my tools to the side here. So what we're working on right now, my friends, is the starting force, okay? So I've been working on these guys. I got them almost table ready, okay? So what we're bringing in is we're bringing in some shooters and some sluggers, 5 knobs, and a warlord, okay? So let's go ahead and start grabbing these guys, okay? And then we're going to work on the bases. Okay, so this will be my shoot, this will be my sluggers, this will be my shooters. So basically, my friends, I'm bringing like 20 each, okay? And they're going to have, oh yeah, it's going to be pretty awesome. Now, the fine folks, the people at the game store were telling me, my fellow players, were telling me that there's only going to be like 2 armies that are going to be able to deal with my forces. Because I'm bringing a green tide, my friends. So my list is going to have 100 boys, okay? And so I'm bringing in the green tide list. Now, a lot of these guys, I'll talk in a bit. Let me get them out. Let me get these guys out first before I start gabbing. So, because we gotta put them on new bases, okay? And that's what we're going to be doing today. And also, too, we're going to be working a little bit on my Warlord. Now, I don't have the base for him, so I'm going to have to see if I can get one from the game store or try to make the base I have bigger by making it, I don't know, we'll see. I got to find out what size I need. So what we're doing right now is we're separating our troops and we'll get them all done. So most of these, my friend, are going to be the Black Reach. So now when the Black Reach set came out, there was a lot of extra bits. So I basically bought the contents of like 2 boxes, minus the Warlord. Okay, I only had the 1 Warlord. I think I have an extra somewhere, but I have another box of Warhammer stuff I can't find in my storage locker, okay? That's where the arms for these guys were. Thankfully, I had more arms in my bits from the same time period, okay? So right here, my friends, is I have another unit of 20 shooters okay, that need to be primed and painted, okay. And then also here as well, I have another, what's this? Well, these are my extra guys, okay, like knobs and the heavy artillery. And then right here, I have another 16 unit of boys, 16 guys. And then once I add the extra troops, I'll round them out to 20. So right there, so right here is the equivalent of 80 boys, okay? And then, yeah, so it's been pretty neat. And like I said, I've only played one game of 40K. That was back in this edition, which was a while ago. Was that 5th, 6th edition? And so, yeah, and I lost pretty bad because I was only a fantasy player, and I was trying to play it like fantasy. So what we're doing, my friends, is I'm pulling out the forces that we're going to be rebasing, okay? And once I get these guys out, we'll play. I have a couple of extras. So what I have some knobs. I have some heavy shooters, the rockets. Okay, these guys are sluggers. Yeah, so this is my Warlord. Now the problem is, my friend, is I can't find the arms. Now I was able to replace the arms on the troops pretty easy, but I don't have an extra arm for this guy, okay? But what I do have is I have a lot of bits. We're going to take a look at that in a moment, okay? But what I want to do is I want to get the unit of my boys out, okay? So we can figure out how many bases we're going to need, okay? That's our goal today, is pretty much rebasing. Now, I was working on these guys last time around, and my goal is just to get these table ready. 4 colors: black, tan, silver, red, green. Okay, 5 colors, you know. That's my goal. And then I'll spend more time on the knobs, on the Warlord, and on the other troops, okay? So I think I have some extra dudes in here because it looks like I have a lot, okay? So we'll find out. This might be 2 units of boys in here with the shooters. Or sluggers, I mean. I gotta learn the right words, okay. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm ready to play. Okay, I think I got too many guys here. That's okay. Yeah, this might be a whole nother unit. That's all right for now. Okay, let's see. So let's get these guys going, okay? Now these are extra bits I'm going to use to try to kit bash my Warlord so I can make them playable. Okay, let's get these guys out of the way. We're going to move this to the side, okay? Because we don't need it right now. All right. So let's start counting. So what I have is so I'm going to have a knob, and then we're going to have the rocket guy, okay? And then so we have 20. Then I'll need 18 boys. So there's going to be 2. There's 4. There's 6. There's 8. There's 10. There's 12. There's 14. 16. 18. Okay. There's my unit of 20 shooters right there. Okay. So now let's do the same for my sluggers. I'm going to bring in the big shooter. Okay. So I have an extra rocket guy. So let's put him with the troops. Oh, guys, pardon me for a second when I bend over here. There you go. Because I only need to base the ones I'm going to be working for the first part of the league here. Okay, so now I'm going to need the same thing too. Now all my knobs are going to have power claws. Okay, so here we go. So here's the heavy shooter, the knob, and now I'm going to need again 18 boys. Okay, so we're looking for the ones that are pretty much all painted. Okay, because I know I have some extras. Because I think I have. I'm going to have 2 units of each. Or is it 3? No, I'm going to have 3 units of sluggers and choppers, and then 2 units of shooters. That's what I figured out. So I can be mostly hand-to-hand combat. So we're looking for these guys that are mostly painted. So there's 2, there's 4, there's 6, there's 8, there's 10, there's 12, there's 14, 16, which guy's almost painted? 16, okay, Okay, these guys right here. Here we go. There's my other unit. And say, look, here's the other partial unit. So yeah, so this is the other unit. Okay, these guys we're going to put back for now, okay? All right, let me get the box. Yeah, I bought this a while back. I actually went to Games Day in 2011. It was amazing, okay? So, I lived in California at the time, and that's before I moved to Santa Fe, okay? And then, so yeah, I was actually, at that time, I was playing Vampire Counts, and that's when the new Plastic Giant came out, and a bunch of cool models for the vampires came out. I was primarily a fantasy player. I started playing Warhammer in 6th edition, my friends. And I've been trying to play 40K for like forever now. And it's always been hit or miss for some reason or another. But now, you know, Santa Fe is a very small town. And we never had a game store for a long time. And when we did, it was primarily like, you know, since I was older, I ran with the fantasy crowd. And I just wanted to get into 40K. Okay, so here we go. Long story short, I want to play 40K. Okay, so here we go. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh, I'm missing a knob. Okay, hold on. I'm missing a knob. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, hold on. Let me get him. He's probably over here. All right. Yeah. Hold on. Let's see. Where is he at? Oh, he's probably in this bag over here. Hold on. This is the bag I'm looking for. Yeah, he's going to be in here. I keep moving all this stuff around. Here you go. I see. Right now we're selling my home. So all my stuff is packed up. That's why you don't see the Warhammer background behind me with all the cool old boxes. That's why I'm using a folding table. That's why it looks so empty in here, because all my belongings are in storage right now, you know, so. But I should be moving my stuff out of storage hopefully in July, and I'll have more access. So now we're looking for, this is all my knobs here, okay? So let's see. I'm going to have 3 guys with power claw. Okay. Power claws, power claw, power claw. And hold on. Do I have another power claw guy? No. So let's do this. We're going to go. Okay, I wanted. And then this knob. This guy will go over here. Okay, bam, there we go. I should do the same thing too here. Let me just put a regular knob in this unit as well. Okay, there you go. That's good right there. And then what I'll do is I'll change it on the list that these guys have knobs with the shooters, the sluggers, and choppers. Okay, there you go. So this is it, my friends. So this is going to be our force right here, okay? Now, I have 100 bases right here. And I got my hobby tools to the side. Okay, so we're going to put these guys over here. So right now, we are looking at 45, 46. 46 is my starting force, okay? This is a bag of 100. And then we have my Warlord to contend with. Now the problem with the Warlord, my friends, is with the Black Reach set, it was this guy came this way, you glued the backpack on, and then you had his arm. Now I'm missing the arm, okay? Not going to be able to find it, but I do have a lot of bits, okay? So let me get those really quick, hold on. Okay, I'm back. I moved a couple of things around. I put my coffee on the table over there because I don't want to spill it. I'm going to be doing a lot of moving the table around. But before I forget, I need to change my list really quick, okay? So we're going to go to my boys, and Okay, so we're going to go over here and then go war gear options for the knob, and then we're going to take away his power claw and give him a big chopper. Okay, so now, and let's go back to there, and then we got to do that again with my shooters. Okay, and that's going to be this guy right here, and oh, that's right. Okay, that's good, that's good. Okay, we gotta do the same thing over here. I gotta fix this really quick. Go over here, take away the power claw, and go big chopper. Okay, now we're good. We're good now, good, okay. Alright, perfect. Now that lowered my points by a little bit, but not too much. I still need to add 120 points to my 2,000 point list. Okay, now pretty much, my friends, I'm gonna have to put together how much of everything I own. Now this little tub right here is pretty much my 40K stuff. I do have another box of unbuilt models, and that's gonna be like a bunch of knobs I bought from the Black Reach set, where I cut their arms off and customize them with knob bits. And I got some fantasy and 40K characters and some other stuff, you know, Painboy and some other stuff. But they're all in a box together. But what I have right here, this is like my tub of my 40K stuff, okay? You know, so I got like a Painboy. I got the. Now this guy, now I still got to put together my looters and burners, okay? I still got some cans to put together, some depth treads. But it's going to take everything I have to make a 2,000 point list, you know. Okay, but the reason why I brought this out is because, my friends, is we're looking through my bits, okay. So this is the bag I have of bits. So back when I was getting ready to get into fantasy, I went to the game stores and they would have the bit spins. Or you would just, buy just like a bunch of arms, 10, 15, whatever. Just how I used to buy bits. And then what I was doing was, I was taking my fantasy orcs and just breaking their arms off and putting the 40K arms on. That's how a lot of these guys are going to be. So what we're looking for, my friends, is I'm looking for some bits we can glue on to the knob arm. To make a, I got some armor bits and stuff. We got to make, it's going to be a little bit smaller than the power claw arm. So I got to bulk it up with armor and stuff so you don't see the difference, okay? So one of these bags is going to be stuff like that. Oh, so here we go. Check this out, my friends. Let me show you this. So this is how the arms used to come for the 40K guys, okay? So basically you would have, it was a pain to put these guys together. So check this out, my friends. Watch. You're going to see how much of a chore this was. So this is how I put together these guys, okay? So check this out. I'm going to walk a little closer to the camera. So this is where I would like edit this part out. Okay, I'm back. Now if you look at this guy, you could see, come on, focus, there it is. Sorry about that, there you go. So you can see he's holding the shooter with his hand like this, okay? So check this out. So this takes 3 pieces, my friend, 3 bits. So first we have his open arm that holds the gun, like this, okay? And then we have the gun, and then look how cool that is. That's just the gun itself. Now you want to see something crazy, is you have the arm, the gun arm, and you see how the top of the, oh, I'm sorry about the bad angle, my friends. This is like really bad, okay? Okay, see how that's flat? Watch. Focus. There. So look at that splat. So you can see he's holding the gun stock, right? So what you had to do is take your X-Acto knife and cut that barrel off and glue his hand on so it looked like that. Yeah, pain in the butt, my friend. That's 3 pieces there. Yeah, that's how it used to be in the old days. I'll try to fix that up in editing. But that's what this is. So this is a bunch of arms where I can, so it's the same thing. Shooter arms for boys. So I can make another, oh, what's that? Oh, it's facing the wrong direction. See, this would be a great combi weapon, but see, it's on this arm. Oh, God. I could probably cut that. See, that would look weird. Okay, hold on. We'll leave this. We'll put this back. That's a bit for another model. Okay. I'm going to edit this up, tighten this up, my friend. I don't know. That's what I'm saying now. We'll see. Okay. Now, one of these bags, I got like a bunch of armor bits. Okay. I got like some like loose grenades, loose blades. This might be it right here. Okay. That looks like that. Okay. Yeah, but this is all like little parts, my friends. Now, what's this here? Oh, this looks like ammo runts. And what else is this? Oh, yeah, this, I know what this is. This is a bunch of like the orc arms having the grenades. I was going to try to make tank busters from scratch. Because at the time when I was getting the 40K, the tank buster models were like really, like nearly impossible to get. I'm not sure if it's the same way. What's this? Is this more bits? What is this, friends? Oh, that's the herder guys for the grots. This is some metal tank buster guys. Okay, what's this? I think this is the bag I need. This is some other bits I bought. So this is, hold on. This is basically an orc. I'm going to mount this onto some car models. So I got some car models. I'm going to try to, I got some lowrider truck models. I'm going to convert into orc cars. I also got some lowrider models. So I'm gonna convert some lowrider stuff into orcs. I got a lowrider. I got 2 lowrider truck models, and then I have like a lowrider. I have 2 lowrider car models. You know, so I'm gonna orc them up. All right. Put those guys now. I got some more bits in here too. I got a lot of bits, my friends. Now I got the same thing for fantasy as well. Okay, what's this? Oh look, here we go. Same thing. This is enough guys. This is another unit of boys here. Of sluggers and choppers. What's this? Oh, this right here, my friend. Oh, this is Looter Boys. So this is Looter Boys. And then we're looking for, okay. Oh, this is knob bits. So this is knobs. That's knob bits right there. Just leave that out. And then this is some old school grots that I paid 50 cents a pop for. So I bought these way back. So look, these guys are way old. Look at these guys. These are the old grots. I'm sorry about my bad camera, my friends. I'm hoping once I move, I'll get a better tech setup, you know. Primarily, I stream video games through the OBS. So once I move into my new home and I got things all settled and stuff, I am going to invest in a better camera, okay? So I apologize about looking like I'm from the 1990s. Somebody made that comment. I found it kind of endearing. Okay, so yeah. All right, here we go. What do I got here? More old stuff. Okay, so this is more. Oh yeah, this is the rocket packs for my Storm Boys. I got a bunch of old metal Storm Boys and some plastic new ones. Okay, so I found what we needed, my friends. It's going to be pretty much these two bags right here, okay? So let's get this stuff out of the way and get busy. How long have I been going for? 27 minutes? I'm going to cut a little bit of time out of this, but not much. Now, what I also have in here is I have the Devcopters. Okay, so the Black Reach set came with 3 Devcopters, and I bought another 3 back at the time, so I have a total of 6. And then, so I have, oh now, what I do have, my friends, is I got all so at the time, these Black Reach knobs, you got them for like the same 5 and the same monopose. So I think at the time I was buying those guys for like, oh god, like the same 5 for like $3, $2. They were like super cheap. I was getting them for less than $1 each. And so I have like, oh my gosh, my friends, in another box, the ones that has the arms for these guys I couldn't find, I have like, I want to say like 50 or 60 knobs, okay? I had no idea the rules, okay? I thought they were like big uns. So in fantasy, at the time, you used to be able to bring a unit of big uns, which is basically like a unit of knobs. There was a big orkz, and you used to be able to carry like one unit, but it was big. So I thought it was the same for 40K, so I was making a unit of big uns, you know, but I had no idea that there was a maximum. So I got a lot of stuff, you know, that I can't use for like a while, you know. Okay, so now, enough gabbing, my friends. Let's try to get busy, okay? All right. So let's get this bag right here. Let's get my Warlord. Let's get my tools. What I'll be doing is taking these. We'll see how we're going to do on this stuff. Maybe, I don't know. I bit off more than I can chew. It's already 10:21, my friends. So I might have to film some of this tomorrow. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, so there was an arm in here in particular that I was thinking I can use, which would be this guy right here, okay? So I can bring, okay, hold on. Let me get my Warlord and let me see what the gear is, okay? Okay, so this guy, I could bring a combi weapon, okay? So now this guy right here, there's one that would look like it would work really well. And now it's going to be this guy right here, because it has like a rocket on it and stuff, and it's the right arm. So let's cut this off and see, or this one will work really good too. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut a couple of these arms off, and we're going to see what's going to work best. Now, for these weapons, the knobs we're carrying them with 2 hands, so I'm going to have to like take an X-Acto knife and scrape the other hand off, okay? So that might be a good determining factor on which one I'm going to use, depending on the easiest one to scrape off. Now this guy, you know, we might just go with this one. Hold on. Because this one has an easy hand. That's going to be easy to scrape off with an X-Acto knife. Now, yeah, he needs to be holding it up in the air. Oh God, how's that going to work? Yeah, see, that's, it can't be blocking his face. Hold on, let's do this. I got to cut off this little tab on his arm here. I'm going to have to primer this and then glue it on and then paint it, okay? There you go. So let's see what I have. Okay, that's a good option. And then, see, this one's going to be too hard to scrape off the other hand. So we're not going to even bother with that one. That's going to be too much of a challenge. Okay, what about this guy here? Oh God, that one. That's a good candidate right there. Hold on. Let's chop this guy off. These clippers are made for plastic models. There we go. Okay, that's another good candidate. Let's go ahead and put this stuff in here. What do we got? Okay, this is going to be... Oh, so this is hand-to-hand. This is the big combat weapons. That's the big choppers. So that's not going to work for us. Okay, we're done with these. Let's put this to the side over here. Okay, so we have two candidates, my friend. Two of them that possibly can work. So hold on. Now this arm... Okay, hold on. Yeah, see, that's too funky. I can do that raised over his head. That's not too bad. Hold on. No, if I do like that, like it's raised over his arm like that, that's not too bad. And, oh, that one, see, that's the same thing too. Oh, that looks kind of weird. Hold on. Yeah, I don't know about that. This one's a little less bulky. Okay, let's try this. We're going to have to use this one. It's going to have to be this one. And it's going to be him, like with the gun over his head, like this. Yeah, that's not too bad. That's not too bad at all. That looks, yeah, that's got to be like that. That's not bad. We're going to do, that's what we're going to use. Yeah. Okay. So, what we have to do is we have to shave off the hand that's on the stock, like right there, okay? That's going to be doing, but before I do that, I should probably clean my glasses so I get a good view. Now, what I'll do is I got some shoulder plate stuff there. So what I'll do is once we know this is going to work, then I'll have to primer this after the fact, and then we're going to pick out some other bits. So once I glue this on, we'll glue some shoulder bit stuff on to make, kind of bulk out the arm a little bit, you know. Because it might be a little bit noticeable that it's going to be a little bit smaller. Not much, but just a tad, you know. Because on the Warlord model, you know, he's holding that combat weapon with one hand facing forward like that, but I don't have that arm. And I'm not going to, and I do have another Warlord model, but I can't cannibalize it because that's also part of my army. So I got to make this guy work, which I will. Now, fortunately, this Warlord model is smaller than the one I have, you know, my other one. Because this is an older one, you know. Okay, I'm going to pull that out of there later on. So what we're going to do now here is I'm going to get a little closer. And we just got to pretty much just kind of scrape that off a little bit. Now this X-Acto knife is pretty sharp. So I'm just kind of shaving it. The nice thing is the hand's kind of like this, pretty square. So all I have to do is just shave off these fingers, and then I'll get a little file, and I'll kind of make it look like it's part of the stock. And the fact that it's holding his arm over like this, you won't notice as much. Now what I do have is I have the back of his hand right here, okay? So I might have to glue some other bits so you can't tell what that is. I'll make it work. The good part about it is is all I have to do is just shave his fingers down to the butt of the rifle there. So that's going to be easy to do. The fact that it's a metal piece, you know, I just got to get a square edge on it, that's all. Just got to take his fingertips off, and then I just square out the knuckles because the hand's pretty boxy to begin with. That helps a lot. Yeah, see, that's going to look good. Once I paint it up, you're not going to be able to tell. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just taking his fingertips and I'm just scraping them off, you know. Now, because it's kind of mechanical, I don't have to like take his hand down to stock. I just got to make it look boxy, so that way when I paint it, it'll just look like a piece of metal, like on the stock, you know. So that's why this was a good choice. Yeah, it's gonna look good. You won't be able to tell. And then what I have to do is probably, okay, so now I just gotta cut a little bit this way. Now what I have right here is my white cutting mat, so I can stick my X-Acto knife in there and just kind of like a little power saw, and just kind of chop away at it, you know. Because I don't want to be holding this in my hand when I'm doing that kind of a cutting motion, so. And it's okay to poke a hole in this white mat because it's my cutting mat. And see what I'm doing right now is I'm just taking this part of his knuckles here and I'm just squaring that off. So when I get done with this, this will just look like another piece of the metal. And I got a small file, and then I just take my small file, and then now I start to square it off. Now, this is a fingernail emery board file. Now, if you go to your hobby shop and you go into your, you can find little metal files, okay? But this is nice. I use this primarily for making flat edges because it's basically kind of fine, you know. It's not very coarse, and it's going to let me kind of square it off. Yeah. And then what I can always do is I can always, you know, take another bit and glue it right. Yeah, see, that's going to be okay. So I can still see a little bit of the finger groove, but I'm getting it down to the basic. And so now it'll just look like part of the rifle now. Yeah. So that's not too bad. Okay, that's going to look pretty good. And then this back part right here, this is going to be a little tricky. So this part's going to be funky here. So this, I got to do now is just kind of scrape off the thumb. And the same thing, I just kind of have to box off and square off this back of the hand part here a little bit. Now, there's a little like tank next to this part here. So if I can take his hand and kind of sculpt it a little bit where it looks like a tank, or at least that shape, I'll be all right. Now, I'm holding this steady, and I'm holding this steady, and I'm just, now I'm not trying to cut a lot off, I'm just basically skimming it where I'm cutting off like little flakes, okay? So this X-Acto knife is like a scalpel, right? Now if you try to cut off a big chunk, it'll go through and you'll stab yourself. So I know it's more time consuming, and it seems like it takes you forever, but it's a lot safer to shave off a little bit at a time, just a tad, so that way, and then work it with your file, because the last thing you want to do is cut too much off, okay? Especially since you're going to see the back of this, I'm trying to make it look like part of the mechanical part of the gun. Now, on this, his thumb is like this. So I'm going to kind of make it, if I can take it, I can carve it where his thumb will look like a hose, okay? So I just got to basically take off the nail part, make it look like a piece of metal coming from the rifle into that little metal part there. And I can just do that with paint, you know. Just use that basic size that's on there, and then I just take it here and I'll just shave off a little more here. And then I'll bring my file in again, and basically I'll kind of alternate between the file and the X-Acto until I get it where it looks like a block. Now if I wanted to, once I get it to the shape I like, I can take the X-Acto knife and cut like little grooves into it, or even take a little pin drill and cut and drill little holes with a little pin drill, so it looks like an exhaust vent, you know. So I can almost like how, you know, but I can actually do that. I can mimic the little holes in the front of the barrel there, so, and I can make it look more metal. In fact, that's probably what I'll end up doing. It'll make it stand, you know, it'll blend it in. Okay. So we're going to put this guy to the side for now, okay? And then now we need to look for is we need to look for a couple of armor bits to put around the shoulder to kind of bulk up the shoulder, okay? And what I have in here is various odds and ends, but if I remember correctly, there was some like glue-on armor bits. Okay, so let's find that, okay? So what's that? Ooh, look. Okay, here is, okay. Let's see what I got here. So I got some heads and torsos. There's enough to make some more guys. So, oh, here you go, look. Here is, oh. So this is the jaw piece that would go on the orc to give him the jaw. I can always cut this and then make it like a shoulder piece with jagged ends there. So let's put that as a possible bit to use, okay? And then, in fact, look, I got a couple of those. Let's take 2 of those, okay? That'd be great. I make a nice little bit. Okay, look, here's another one where it's like a piece of armor that's smooth. So I can cut these into a nice little combo and give them like an armored sleeve look. That's what we'll try to do, because like it says, once I glue this arm on, you're going to see that it's a little bit smaller, okay? It's definitely bigger than the boys, but the difference between the orc arm and the boys and the knob arm is noticeable. It is definitely fatter, okay? Now, so I can compensate and make that work. That's why bits are awesome, my friends. It's always nice to save this kind of stuff, you know. Okay, so here's another, here's 2 more of those, okay. And we need to find 1 more armor piece. Oh look, here's like a little oh look, here's like a little pack that went on their leg that has like little like pouches and stuff. And that has like a bunch of brackets. We're gonna take that too. That's another thing we can use to put on his arm to bulk it up. And then look, I have like a, let's see here, what else do we have? Here's another armor. Okay, so let me see what you got here. And then, what else do we have? Okay, there's another armor bit. And, hold on, what else do we got here? Oh, look, here's another armor bit that has spikes on it. So these were all basically shoulder pieces that went on the boys, okay? But we'll put them all, here's another one with spikes. Okay, that should be enough bits to basically, to help us out there, okay? And then, I thought I saw some grenades. No, I guess not. I might have been in a different bag. Okay, but this is good. We're good for now, okay? Okay, let's put these guys back. That should be enough armor bits. There's two. I need one more smooth one. Hold on, let's get one more. I see it right here. And then, where is it, my friends? Where is it? I just put it in there, didn't I? There it is. Okay, let's keep that out. Okay, there we go. Let's get these guys put away. Now these are arms that will fit on the 6th edition orks. Now what I plan on doing is, now for the old world, they released the 6th edition ork battalion boys. And now that's the same orks that I used to convert these guys. So all I have to do is go buy some old world orks, and then I can use these bits to make even more boys for 40k. And that's what I plan on doing, because I got enough bits to make a lot of boys, my friend. I have probably enough bits to make like 200. I don't know, let's say 150. 160 maybe. I got a lot of bits here, okay? A lot of arms, because like I said, I went all crazy. It was so inexpensive to buy this stuff. So cheap, so cheap. And the game store guys were like happy to get rid of this, because they had so many ork bits. And this is how I was able to get into 40k at an affordable rate. Plus I love the kit bash. Oh my friends, this has almost been an hour already. 49 minutes. And it's going on 10:41. We'll go till 11 o'clock. We'll cut this down a little bit. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. So we're going to put the Warlord and the bits I plan on using in this bag here. And we're going to put him on the back burner for now, friends. Yep. Oh, look. Here's the bag. Hold on, wait. This had knob bits in it too. So what else do we have here? Okay, that's a jaw piece. I thought I had, let's see here. There's some armor bits. Extra heads. Okay, hold on. Oh look, here's some more bits, some more shoulder pads that have spikes on them. So this, ooh, that's a different one. These are, I don't have these ones. So let's take some of these too, okay? And what's this? How's this? What's this here? These are heads. Okay, this is looking pretty good. This is a lot of the totems, some extra arms. I got so many bits, my friends. So, and this is, there you go. Let's put this stuff back. We're good for now. I don't want to pull too much stuff out, because then I'm gonna be tempted to use it all, and I'll make the model too cluttery. I don't want to do that. That's a neat bit too. Let's put that in there. Okay. Okay, we're good here. Ooh, this has like little skulls on it. Put that in there. It might look good. It might look good. Okay, here we go. He is my Warlord, so he should have some bling. Okay, so this is gonna go in this bag. Okay, perfect, friends, perfect. Let's put this stuff away now, okay? We're done with this. We're done with these bits. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to start putting these guys on our bases. Now, Okay. These are like third-party bases, my friends. These are not actual GW bases at all. I wish I could afford the GW bases, but it was actually it was just too much for what I had to pay. Now, I will be buying more models that will have the proper size bases. So, you know, okay. So here we go. So now what we're going to do now, my friends, is we're going to see if we can hopefully cut these guys off. If not, we might have to... yeah, hold on. Now I can also... yeah, look how much... look at the difference in bases for these guys. Okay, so here's what I was afraid we're going to have to do this. Now these bases are from 2005. God, I hate to destroy them. Hold on. Let's see if I can get this off without hurting myself. No. So I was afraid of. So here's what we're going to do now, friends. So we're going to have to do this the hard way. Okay, so now, look, we're going to put this aside. We're going to have to cut these bases like this. Watch. So we're going to have to take these guys and just kind of cut them. That's what I had to do with some of my other fantasy ones, where I couldn't get them off the base. Thank goodness for the proper plastic cutters. Okay, yeah. And then we'll just have to glue these on to the flat bases. Yeah, because I don't want to try to cut these guys off and hurt myself, you know. I don't want to have to go to the hospital because I'm trying to save money on bases. So all I gotta do is just take the rounded edge off, and then I can glue these guys onto a flat base. I mean the bigger base. I mean, there it is. Because these guys are already painted. There they are. Perfect. So now what I do have. Okay, hold on. So I can take this guy, and now I can glue it to that. Okay, there's a little bump on the bottom. I'm going to have to clean that. Okay, we're going to do this. We're going to take that and cut that part off. Right down the middle. Because we don't need that on there. That's going to impede the gluing. There, perfect. Yep. So, as you can see, I cut the, yeah. Now we'll be able to glue these guys onto the base. Okay, so pretty much, wow, this is going to be a lot harder than I thought. I always underestimate how much work this is going to take, my friends. Always. I'm really bad about that, you know. So that's okay. So instead of trying to glue these now, just go ahead and just chop these guys off for the next couple of minutes, and then we'll call it a night. Yeah, but the good part about it is, my friends, oh, this is the dude's arm. We got to put this in there. Okay, hold on. And this is, there you go. So this is my Warlord. So at least we got that worked out, okay? He's going to go in our troop box. And then what I'll do is I'll get some freezer bags, and I'll put these guys in some bags. Oh, look at this guy. Look at this guy here. Okay, see, let's get this off here. All right, same thing. We have to do the same thing, friends. We have to cut this off. Yep. It's a shame to have to destroy these old bases, but what can you do, friends? What can you do, you know? Yeah. You know, what I really should do, I should get my other clippers. I got another pair of clippers that are not as, these are for my cutting off my sprue, okay. So we're just going to do that. We'll just get these guys going. I'll have to go get my other cutters from my other hobby box for the rest of these guys. I thought I was going to be able to pop them off, but the glue's on there really good. So I don't want to risk cut myself. Okay, here we go. But this will work just fine. Oop, I went that way and hit the TV. There we go. Okay, this guy here. And so what I have is a bunch of extra plastic around the foot. That's okay, because I plan on texturizing the bases anyway. So this is going to be a lot faster than trying to cut them off with an X-Acto. Yeah. Perfect. There you go. Yeah. Nice. Okay. So I'm going to have to do that with all my boys that I have pre-built already. Yeah, see, that's not going to come off. That sounded really good. I don't want to risk damaging the model or myself. Okay. Because I don't mind, the old bases are just bases. It's the models that matter, you know. There you go. But I'm very excited about the prospect of getting actually to play 40K finally. After a decade of trying to play, you know. Since 2011. More than a decade. Gee, that's like 14 years. Okay, hold on. All right. This is going to work out good. Perfect. And then I'll take a file and run them on a file. Now I got a bigger file instead of, you know, that I'll use for that. Now I'm going to have a mess. Now these I only use for plastic, and then I got clippers I only use for metal. So I got, like I said, I keep my tools. They all have a special job, you know. That way they don't get damaged. Now, it's best to invest in good tools, my friend. If you buy good tools, you'll use them for a while. It might seem like you're spending a lot of money, but in the long run, it's worth it. They don't, you know, you won't be replacing them as much, and you know they won't be all flimsy. You know, it really matters on your quality of tools. I mean, if you're going to skimp, try to skimp somewhere else, okay? But don't skimp on your tools. Always buy good blades. You know, always change your blades off, you know, when you can. Don't try to use a dull blade because you'll end up hurting yourself, you know. You know, it's cheaper to replace the blades than it is to pay a hospital bill, okay? If you try to use an X-Acto blade beyond its point, it starts to get weak and it can snap and break, and you don't need that hitting you in the face, my friends. These are very sharp and very dangerous. That's going to look good. So I'm going to have to do this with another 40 guys. So, and then gluing them down won't be too hard. So the nice thing about this is I won't have to rank them like I would like fantasy troops, you know, because they're on the skirmish base. I gotta do is just pop these guys in the middle of the base and they're good to go, you know. Okay, let's get in there without messing stuff up. There it is. Whoop. Got power claw got stuck on the clippers there. All right, there you go. Bam, that's looking good. Now these models barely fit on the base, so the toes are hanging over. So this is going to be different. Now I did read in a couple, I've been trying to do some research on playing, and I did see where on a Reddit post where somebody mentioned that with the larger bases, that you're going to get less models in contact, and then it's a little harder to keep unit cohesion. So, you know, I got to keep that in mind. But the good thing about it is I'm starting kind of fresh, so none of that stuff is going to be, you know, I won't know the difference because I never played on the small bases, so it'll be fine. But it's good to know that, you know, the thing about the unit cohesion. Okay, there we go. I got to cut this little part off right there. Ah, there it is. Perfect. Well, not perfect, but good. Okay, there it is. That looks all right. I gotta cut that piece off right there. There it is. And then I'll take, like I said, I'll take a file to the bottom of these. But I got a coarser file. And then that way it flattens them out. I can always take some sandpaper and rub it that way too, but I just gotta be careful I don't go too much. Okay. Well, my friends, look, it's already been an hour already. Okay, so we got some stuff done. I'll start working some more on this. So basically, all I gotta do now is just kind of get the rest of the stuff broken off, get my file. I gotta make sure I sweep this stuff really well, because I don't want this falling into the carpet, because I have pets. And then I'll walk around with my socks in here, and this would be very dangerous and would hurt. So, always want to keep your hobby area clean and safe. It makes a big difference. Okay, now, oh, hold on. That's where that Warlord bag came from. That's where I had this stuff in. That's okay, I'll get a different bag for it. Well, my friends, I want to thank you for watching my videos. If you can, please leave a like or a comment. If you're an orc player and you want to give me some advice, hey, I'll take it to heart, my friends, because you only learn by getting good advice. I know I'm going to lose a lot of games. I'm okay with that, because it's all about hanging out with your friends. Winning is frosting on the cake. I'm very excited. So once I get these guys glued onto the base, I'll probably use like a little texture putty stuff, so make it look like they're walking on mud and stuff. I got a bunch of skulls and stuff. I got some bits I can put in there. I got some Space Marine helmets, bits. I might put a couple coming out of the ground. I don't know yet. I don't know. I don't want to get too, I don't know. We'll see. I want to save all that kind of special base work for my main characters, Okay, friends. Hey, well, thanks. And thanks for watching. Thanks for liking. And it means a lot to me, my friends. This is my 3rd year on YouTube, and I love spending this time with you guys. And, so if you got any advice, orc players, in the comments, my friend. It helps me in the algorithm, okay? Hey, you guys have a wonderful night. It's like 10:56, and it's Friday the 13th. That's why I'm wearing my Jason shirt, okay? Hey, you guys have an awesome day, my friends. Have an awesome day. Or night, depending where you're at in the world. Bye, friends. Bye for now.